All right, so get this. This week, we are going all over the place.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, from courtrooms all the way to outer space.
Wow, that's quite the range.
Yeah, we've got articles about, like, tech companies battling it out with regulators, scientific discoveries, big sporting events, even some controversial stuff, too.
It sounds like you've got a lot of curiosity this week.
We do.
We'll have to untangle these threads and see if we can find some connections.
Okay, let's start with Apple and the EU.
Okay.
It looks like the EU is shaking things up with their Digital Markets Act.
Uh-huh.
They're making Apple allow a, pornography app on other app stores.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is a big deal because it really makes you think,
Yeah.
who gets to decide what we can and can't access online?
It's true. It really gets to the heart of who's in control of the digital marketplace.
Yeah, and what consumers can actually get their hands on.
Exactly.
Apple's saying that the EU is, like, messing with consumer trust by allowing this app.
Okay.
They're saying they care about safety, but other people are saying, like the CEO of Epic Games, Tim Sweeney.
Yeah, I know Tim Sweeney.
He's saying this is just Apple wanting to keep all the power.
Oh, interesting.
And keep those sweet, sweet App Store fees rolling in.
It's about control, maybe, more than anything else.
So it's not even really about this one app.
Right.
It's about, like, the whole system.
The rules of the game.
Exactly. Yeah, like who gets to make the rules.
It's true.
So we've got Apple on one side. They've built this brand, this, like, carefully curated app store.
Right. Yeah.
And on the other side, we've got the EU saying, open up the market. More choices for consumers.
Yeah.
And, this could actually affect everyone, all app developers, all users, no matter where they are.
Globally.
Depending on, like, how this actually plays out.
Absolutely. This case, it could really set a precedent,
Oh, yeah?
for app stores everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
If the EU wins this, then other places might start challenging Apple, too.
Oh, wow.
Force them to, accept other app stores. Maybe we'd see way more variety.
Okay.
More competition,
Things would get shaken up, for sure.
They would.
Okay, let's switch gears totally.
Okay.
Google's decision to ditch their diversity hiring goals.
Right.
This seems like a pretty big deal.
It is, especially with this new order from President Trump about DEI.
Right.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Yeah, DEI. So companies like Google, who work with the government,
Federal contractors.
yeah, they're in a tough spot.
It's a balancing act.
Yeah.
Between their own values and what the politicians want.
Exactly. And DEI has been so important.
A core part of so many companies.
Yeah, to try and build a workforce that reflects,
Very representative, yeah.
Yeah, but with this executive order, it's like a threat.
Wow.
Financial penalties if your DEI program is considered illegal. And no one really knows what illegal even means.
It's unclear. It's ambiguous.
So a lot of companies are like, okay, maybe we should just back off for now.
They're hesitant.
Yeah, it's like a big question mark hanging over the whole thing.
Yeah, and it makes you think,
Yeah.
about, like, the future of companies doing good, corporate social responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to prioritize these values even when it costs them?
Yeah, it's tough.
It's a tough one, and we'll see how it all unfolds.
But what impact it has on workplaces across all these different industries.
Absolutely, it's a big question.
Yeah, it makes you think about, like, where's the line
Yeah.
between what companies believe in and, all the political stuff going on.
Right, where do they draw the line?
All right, let's lighten things up.
Okay.
Let's look
Up to the sky.
to the night sky.
I like it.
Yeah, 2025, it's going to be pretty amazing for stargazing.
Oh, yeah, if you're into celestial events, you are in for a treat.
2 lunar eclipses,
Wow.
a 6-planet parade in January,
No way.
which becomes a 7-planet show in February.
That's incredible.
And then we've got 3 supermoons in the fall. And, if you like the northern lights, the aurora borealis,
Yeah.
you're going to have more chances to see them.
Really?
Yeah, because the sun is reaching its solar maximum.
Okay.
So basically, the sun has this 11-year cycle.
Uh-huh.
And during the solar maximum, it's just blasting out more energy.
Wow.
And that means more intense and more frequent auroras.
It creates those geomagnetic storms
Yeah.
that make the atmosphere light up.
Yeah, those dancing lights.
It's mesmerizing.
Yeah. So if you've always wanted to see the aurora borealis,
Yeah.
2025 might be your year.
Fingers crossed.
All right, let's come back down to Earth
Vector.
for something kind of futuristic.
Oh, and...
Delicious.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Cultivated meat, or what some people call lab-grown meat.
Okay.
So we've got like over 150 startups.
Wow, that many.
Yeah, they're working on growing meat
Okay.
from animal cells. No need for farms or,
No slaughterhouses.
Yeah, the goal is to make meat production sustainable and more ethical.
That's ambitious.
Yeah, less impact on the environment.
Yeah.
Address all the concerns about animal welfare.
So you could have a burger.
Yeah, juicy burger.
Without all the baggage.
Yeah, succulent chicken.
It sounds like science fiction.
It really does.
Yeah.
But how realistic is it?
That's the question.
Yeah.
So the technology is moving fast, but there are still some things they got to figure out.
Like what?
Well, first of all, cost.
Right.
It's expensive to make this stuff right now.
Okay.
And they're also working on, getting the texture right.
Oh, right. The taste.
So it's not just growing the cells.
It's got to be convincing.
Yeah.
It's got to taste like a real burger.
And will people actually eat it?
Right. Public perception.
Yeah, that's a big one.
It's huge. Some people are excited. Others are like, ew, no way. So getting over that ick factor is going to be key.
For sure.
But if they can pull it off, delicious, affordable, lab-grown meat,
yeah,
it could change everything.
The whole food industry?
Yeah. Definitely food for thought, huh?
I like it.
Okay, speaking of breakthroughs, you found some articles about sea turtles.
Yes. Scientists have figured out this mystery.
Okay.
The lost years of sea turtles.
I've heard about this.
For years, they couldn't figure out what happened to baby sea turtles.
Yeah, they hatch and then poof, gone.
They disappear.
And then they show up as adults.
Right. Almost full grown, back on the coast.
So weird.
But now we know they're way more adventurous than we thought.
What do you mean?
They use GPS trackers to map these little turtles, and guess what?
What?
They're not just drifting around.
No.
They're swimming, exploring, making decisions.
Yeah, way.
Yeah, they're not helpless.
And the vast ocean, wow.
Especially the Gulf of Mexico, it's unpredictable.
Yeah.
But they manage.
So this totally changes how we think about them.
It does.
And they're not passive.
Not at all.
They're out there making their own way.
Exactly.
It's amazing, their resilience.
Their adaptability.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
This research gives us so much more information.
It does.
About how they behave, where they go, what dangers they face.
And it shows how important research is
in
using technology.
To learn about the natural world.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's talk about something that's always a hot topic, the NFL.
Always.
Super Bowl LIX is almost here.
Can't wait.
And it's going to be epic.
Oh, I know.
The Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
With Mahomes and Kelce.
The dynamic duo.
They're up against the Philadelphia Eagles.
It's a rematch.
Oh, that's right, from a couple years ago.
Rivalry is real.
Yeah, and their halftime show.
Oh, yeah.
Kendrick Lamar and SCA.
Two powerhouses.
They're going to put on a show.
An unforgettable show.
And even before the game.
Yes.
We've got John Batiste singing the national anthem.
Beautiful.
Trombone Shorty and Lauren Daigle doing America the Beautiful.
Nice.
And Ledisi singing Lift Every Voice and Sing.
Wow, a star-studded event.
Yeah, both on and off the field.
For sure.
It's going to be quite the spectacle. But there's another NFL story here that's kind of, well, unexpected.
Really? What is it?
It's about the New Orleans Saints.
Okay.
And the Catholic Church.
Oh, wow. That's an interesting combination.
Yeah, so the Saints are owned by Gail Benson, who's Catholic.
Right.
And it turns out they were really involved in helping the church with the whole sexual abuse scandal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they were doing damage control. Emails leaked and showed that Saints executives were shaping the public message.
Interesting.
They were reviewing the lists of accused priests, even trying to influence what the media was saying.
Wow, that's a lot of involvement.
Yeah, and a lot of people are saying, hold on, is this appropriate?
I can see why.
For an NFL team to get involved in something so sensitive,
yeah,
the Saints are saying, hey, we're just trying to help, be transparent.
Minimal assistance, they say?
Yeah, but some people aren't buying it.
It raises questions about the boundaries.
Yeah, between sports and religion.
Especially with a crisis this big.
Yeah, this is a story with a lot of layers.
Definitely.
And I feel like we've only just scratched the surface.
It seems like it.
How about we take a short break and then come back for more?
Sounds good to me. There's so much more to explore.
All right, we'll be right back.
Okay, so let's get back to these articles.
Okay.
Maybe we should move on from sports and religion.
Okay.
Something a bit more, well, I guess you could say existential.
Oh, you mean like this whole thing about people buying nuclear bunkers?
Yeah, exactly. It seems like there's this growing anxiety about, global tensions.
Right, the possibility of nuclear war.
Exactly, and the article talks about how the bunker industry is booming.
Wow, really?
Yeah, they're selling everything from these small personal shelters
to
a elaborate underground communities.
It's like something out of a movie.
It really is. And it makes you think,
Yeah.
is this really a solution,
Right.
And what about the ethics of it all?
Yeah, like who gets to be safe?
Exactly. The article quotes some experts who say
Okay.
that focusing on surviving a nuclear blast might actually be distracting from the more important work of preventing it in the first place
Oh, I see.
through diplomacy and things like that.
Okay.
And yeah, like you said, who has access to these bunkers?
Right.
It could create a very unequal situation.
Right, like if only the rich can afford to survive.
Exactly. FEMA actually recommends
That is FEMA.
the Federal Emergency Management Agency.
Oh, okay.
They say that if there's a nuclear detonation, the best thing to do is find shelter in a basement.
Really?
Yeah, or the interior of a large building
Okay.
to avoid the fallout.
So not a luxury bunker.
Not quite. And then there's the psychological side of it all.
Oh, right.
Living with this constant fear of nuclear war,
Yeah,
it can be really stressful.
it would be.
A bunker might offer some comfort,
Yeah.
but it also makes you wonder what kind of world you'd be coming back to.
That's heavy.
It is. Maybe we need a lighter topic.
Yeah, change of pace.
How about some fashion?
Oh, okay.
There's this article about Gucci.
Yeah, I saw that.
Big shakeup. They got rid of their creative director.
Yeah, Sabata DeSarno right before Milan Fashion Week.
Bold move.
Yeah, he was only there for like 2 years.
And to announce it right before the big event.
The fashion world is going crazy.
So the article says that DeSarno,
Yeah?
he was all about going back to classic looks.
Oh, interesting.
Timeless pieces. A shift from his predecessor.
Right, Alessandro Michele.
He was wild.
Bold colors, gender-bending designs.
Yeah, super theatrical.
And it was hugely popular.
Gucci was back on top.
But maybe DeSarno's style,
Yeah.
it just didn't click with people the same way.
I guess not.
It'll be interesting to see what they do next.
Yeah, who they pick to lead the brand.
Fashion is always changing.
You gotta stay ahead of the curve.
Exactly. Know what people want before they even know it.
Okay, this next story is strange.
Oh.
Someone stole 100,000 eggs in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, a whole truckload just vanished.
Who steals that many eggs?
I have no idea. The police are stumped.
It's baffling.
What are they going to do with all those eggs?
That's the question. Maybe we'll never know.
The Great Egg Heist. Unsolved.
It does add a little humor to our deep dive.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, back to serious stuff.
All right.
There's this article about a house on Cape Cod.
I read that one. It's right on the edge.
Yeah, coastal erosion. It's scary.
The ocean is relentless.
They're trying to save the house.
It's a battle against nature.
It really makes you think about the power of the ocean.
It does, and what it means for people living on the coast.
Yeah, with sea levels rising.
And these intense storms.
It's a problem all over the world.
It's a global challenge.
Cape Cod is just one example.
A microcosm of what we're facing.
It's a reminder that nature is in charge.
We can't control everything.
Sometimes we have to adapt.
To survive.
Okay, I think we need another break.
Yeah, let's take a breather and come back for the final part.
Sounds good. We got a lot more to cover. All right, let's dive into this last set of articles.
Yeah, we've got some stories here about, well, life, I guess.
Yeah.
The ups and downs, you know?
The good and the bad.
The fragility of it all.
And the resilience.
Exactly.
This story about Army Captain Rebecca Loback, it's just heartbreaking.
Oh, the one who died in the plane crash.
Yeah, in D.C., a mid-air collision.
It's so sad she was so young.
Such a talented pilot.
A distinguished graduate, they said.
That's crazy to think. Just weeks before, she was escorting Ralph Lauren at the White House.
The fashion designer.
Yeah, when he got the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Wow, from celebration to tragedy.
It's like a reminder that you never know what's going to happen.
Life can change so quickly.
You have to appreciate every moment.
Her friends and family, they said she was amazing.
Yeah, a true patriot. So smart. Always striving for the best.
It's a reminder that even with everything going on in the world, these individual stories, they still matter.
They shape it.
Okay, so back to the power of nature.
Oh, right. That house on Cape Cod.
Teetering on the edge.
Yeah, it's almost in the sea.
Coastal erosion. It's a force to be reckoned with.
They're trying to save it, but
the ocean is relentless.
It really shows you this struggle, man versus nature.
And it makes you think about, you know, the future of coastal communities.
The sea level's rising.
Yeah, more powerful storms.
It's a global problem.
Not just Cape Cod.
It's a challenge for everyone living near the ocean.
We have to find a balance.
Yeah, between what we build
and the natural environment.
Sometimes you can't fight nature.
Sometimes you have to adapt.
Okay, you know those sea turtles we talked about?
Yeah, the lost years mystery.
They're even more amazing than we thought.
What do you mean?
So remember, they're not just drifting.
Right. They're swimming, exploring.
And scientists are saying that's actually crucial for their development.
Really?
Yeah, by swimming all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
They encounter all these different habitats, different food sources.
So it makes them stronger.
Yeah, more likely to survive when they become adults.
It's like nature's way of preparing them.
For the challenges ahead.
It shows how interconnected everything is.
Yeah, the turtles, their journey.
It connects all these different parts of the ocean.
And that helps keep the whole ecosystem in balance.
It's amazing how even these small creatures can have such a big impact.
We started this deep dive talking about interconnectedness.
Right, with Apple and the EU.
And now we're back to it.
Full circle.
From technology to the environment.
It's all connected.
The choices we make, they have consequences.
And those consequences can ripple out
To the whole world.
It's important to remember that.
Yeah, and we've seen stories of both strength and fragility.
Captain Lobach, the sea turtles.
It's all part of life.
The triumphs and the tragedies.
The breakthroughs and the dilemmas.
It's a complex story.
And it's constantly changing.
Well, that's it for this deep dive.
It's been quite a journey.
We've gone from the depths of the ocean to the vastness of space.
And everything in between.
Hopefully you've learned something new.
Gain some insights.
Maybe even changed your perspective a little bit.
What will you do with this knowledge?
It's up to you.
Stay curious, stay informed, stay engaged.
The world is full of wonders.
And we'll be back next time to explore even more.
Until then...